Okay, we'll be looking at simple interest today. Now, interest is where when you hold money that belongs to somebody else, okay, you need to pay them interest on top of what you maybe borrowed from them. Okay, so say we have you and a bank. If you borrow money from the bank, then you're holding the bank's money, so you would need to pay them interest on top of paying back whatever you borrowed from them. Conversely, if you put your own money into the bank, then now the bank is holding your money, and actually using your money too, so it would need to pay you interest on top of whenever you decide to withdraw your money from the bank. Okay, so let's look a bit more into that example. Say you put $1,000 into a bank account. Okay, what we call simple interest is when the bank would be paying you the same amount of money, say, every year. Okay, now it need not be every year, it could be each month or each day or whatever. We'll see examples of this later, but for now, we'll leave it as every year. So we'll keep track of the number of years up there now, and in this case, we are earning interest because the bank's holding our money, so it needs to pay us interest. And so that's going to show itself by the amount in our account increasing. Okay, and now if it's simple interest, then it's the same amount each time, so maybe it pays us $50 each year. Okay, then it would work a bit like this as the years go by. Okay, our account's going to be growing because the bank's paying us interest. Now, it would only make sense that if we placed $10,000 into the same account, we've put in more money, so we'd expect to earn more interest on this. So rather than, say, earning only $50 a year, this investment could possibly earn $500 a year. So with 10 times more money, we'd get 10 times more interest. So now as the years go by, what we're seeing is that the gold account is earning 10 times more interest than the blue account, which only makes sense because we invested 10 times as much. And because of that, bank accounts are not really defined by how much interest they pay as like a dollar value, but rather how much they pay in comparison to what you put in at the beginning. So say for the blue investment, okay, we're comparing the 50 with the $1,000 you put in, giving 0.05. And for the gold investment, we'd be comparing the $500 with the $10,000 you put in, giving the same 0.05, again, only because it's the same bank account. Okay, it's not always 0.05. We'd almost always express this number, though, as a percentage, so we'd say this bank account pays 5% interest per annum, which means per year, and it's written as 5% PA, like that. And the meaning of that, again, is just that every year, this account pays you 5% of what you put in at the beginning. And that's going to show itself by your account sort of growing over time. Okay, and that's how all simple interest works. Okay, again, it's not always 5%, but the amount you get paid each year or each week or each day or whatever is almost always expressed as some percentage of the initial amount you put in at the beginning. So let's see an example of that. We want the final value of a $25,000 investment with interest paid at a flat rate of 4.5% per annum per year for 7 years. Okay, now flat rate just means simple interest, another word for the same thing. So first, it's a rate of 4.5% per annum. That means we're thinking about the interest earned each year. The rate is given as 4.5%, but 4.5% of what? Well, again, it's of the initial amount you put in. So it's this $25,000 here. Okay, and we get 1,125. But that's just the interest earned each year. So to get the total interest, we'd have to count up how many lots of 1125 we actually get. Okay, and we're told it's for 7 years. So that means we need to take 7 lots of this 1125. And we get 7,875. Now, we're not done yet because we want the final value of this investment. All we've calculated is the interest, which is the extra amount that the bank pays us. So the final value must be made up of the starting amount, the initial 25,000 we put in, plus the 7,875 we earned as interest, and so the final value will be $32,875. Okay, now for a slightly more involved example with a loan repayment. It's a $36,000 truck, but we can't afford to pay that all in one go maybe, so we first pay a 20% deposit all in one go. So we pay off 20% of the full price all in one go, but then the rest of it is paid over time in weekly repayments. And we're asked for the interest rate on this loan. Okay, so the story this time is we're buying something, but a good chunk of the money is being paid off over time. But by delaying our payment, we're effectively holding on to their money. We owe them money, which means we need to pay them interest in this story. Okay, first thing to settle is a 20% deposit because this is paid straight away, so it's got nothing to do with the repayment process or the interest charged or anything because I'm not going to be owing that stuff anymore. So the amount we pay right at the start is 20% of the whole $36,000, so that amounts to $7,200 being paid straight away. So how much are we owing then? Well, we can subtract to see how much is left over for us to have to pay. And that gives us $28,800. So the important thing is that number will become our initial value for interest calculations because that's the amount we're borrowing, not the whole $36,000. Okay, we're only charged interest on what we owe. Okay, so we want to know how much interest we're paying now, but the information given in the question actually tells us the exact amount we're repaying over time. Okay, so we need to calculate the total repayments we make over time. That's given to us in that phrase $276 per week for 3 years. So each payment is $276, but how many of these $276s do we need to pay? Well, it's for 3 years, so we need to bring him down. But we're paying the $276 every week, not every year, so we need to multiply by 52 because that's how many weeks we have per year. And that gives us 43,056 in total. So what would be the amount of interest charged then? Well, we were only owing $28,800, but we had to pay $43,056. Right, so there's a huge difference between the two, right? And the interest must be that difference, that extra amount we had to pay because we delayed it. Okay, and so the difference is $14,256. Now, how do we turn this guy into an interest rate? Well, an interest rate is most often a percentage per year. So first we need to see how much interest is being paid per year. Because our $14,256 over here is being paid off over 3 years. So what we need to do is divide that by 3 to find we're being charged $4,752 interest each year. So finally, we can turn this into an interest rate again by comparing it with that initial amount owing like this. We get 0.165 from doing that, which is just 16.5%. So before we finish, just notice how the interest and related calculations are all based on the amount owing. Okay, and that's always going to be the case. So that means the deposit is cut from all those calculations, and really you'd only need to bring that guy back. Maybe if the question asked for the total amount we had to pay or something. Okay, but in any case, that's simple interest. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you around. Bye.